This is the issue, and I am the ghetto man. Today's issue, the Congress baseball gunman, John Hodgkinson. I'm hearing a lot of people saying, do you think that this is the start of the Civil War? Well, first of all, I don't believe that we're going to have a civil war in the United States. What we are having is a violent coup d'etat. Everything since the 10th plague of the Communist Manifesto was adopted in the United States in 1954, we've been slowly and progressively, and I use that word progressive in the same term that the Democrats use it, progressive meaning communism. We've been progressing towards communism ever since the 10th plank of the Communist Manifesto was adopted in the United States. We all know that is the free education in public schools. Once we gave control of our public school system over to the government, or should I say our school system over to the government, that's when the communists had your children. They could start teaching a foreign and alien ideology in order to program their brains into thinking that communism was really the American way. And when we started with democracy, we go to our government classes and we pledge our allegiance to the flag, and although we say to the republic for which it stands, we turn right around and our government teachers would teach us about how we're a democracy. It wasn't true. But this has been going on for 60-some years now. And now we have a whole generation of people that have come up through the government school system, have learned all of these socialist, communist ideals and more. Once they get to college, the professors are not there, doing what a citizen should do, and that is teaching the children how to be a good citizen and to uphold and defend and support the republic and our free enterprise system, and how this system allows people to go from nothing to being the richest person on earth, if that's what they want to do. Instead, they've taught the children that capitalism, and when I say capitalism, I'm referring to the free enterprise system, not this crony capitalism where the corporations control everything, right, all the laws and regulations, so that the only ones that can even try to operate a business is those huge companies that create the regulations that make sure that the small guy like you and me never have the opportunity to, even strive for our dreams. So right now, we're in a real quagmire. I always say to people, you'll know when it's time to really pay attention to what's going on here. And this is it. The Democratic Party has now, and I'm not taking sides with Trump here. I just take a look at what somebody's doing. I've already had quite a few issues with Trump already. But what I'm watching occur here is I'm watching, a party that is promoting violence, and not just promoting violence, but violence against the president. I mean, was Shakespeare in the Park has now got a scene where they execute the president. I guess it was when they're doing the play on Caesar, they substitute Trump and they execute him. And you had that redhead, I can't remember, I never get her name right, something Griffith, holding a severed head. All these things are, they're free speech rituals. People have a right to go ahead and do this, but is it a good idea to sit there and continually promote the murder, the execution, the assassination of any president. I mean, I don't think anybody in this country would have done it to any president. It's reckless. It's dangerous. There's a lot of nuts on the in the left. A lot of nuts. Just look around. I was born in Hollywood, so I've seen some weird things. And you look around, there's a lot of weird things going on out there. The left is extremely violent. The communists have always been violent. That's how they work. That's how they've always worked. And since the college professors, the ones that are responsible for teaching this leftist ideology, they're the ones that are responsible for this the violence that's starting to take place and is going to take place. They're the ones that are taking our children, who they should be educating in some sort of vocation or career of some sort, and they're just teaching them all this communist propaganda. Sooner or later, you get someone like this Hodgkinson, and he's going to go out there and he's going to start killing people. And look what his purpose was. He was killing Republicans. I just don't know why. I don't understand why you would focus on a political party, for crying out loud. I mean, this is outright war. This is a open and violent takeover of the United States of America. These people are overthrowing it. They aren't just rioters. They are insurrectionists. They're rebelling against the United States Constitution. They do not like our Republican form of government. Every Democrat that I talk to, every single one of them, they want socialism. That's why there were so many of them that followed that moron Bernie Sanders. And I'm going to do, I got a show coming up where I've done some research over the past on what this nation was established as. And when I heard Bernie Sanders the other day basically requiring someone to take a religious oath, the information I have is just going to blow your socks off. I can't wait to share it with you. But right now, what I'm concerned with is this problem with the left. These people are dead serious. They hate the United States Constitution. They hate everything it was founded upon. You'll hear them always say that the founders were nothing but rich, greedy slave owners. When everybody at that time, everybody owned slaves. Everybody in the known world. Then it didn't matter what race you were. You had black slave owners, and you had white slave owners, and you had black slave owners that owned white slaves. I mean, the first legal slave owner, and I say legal because everybody owned slaves, was a man by the name of Anthony Johnson. And he was black, and he had a black slave. And the story goes that he, the guy that was his slave, claimed that he was he was just there for a period of a time. He was, what do they call it, in indentured servitude. He serves a certain time, then he earns his freedom, and away he goes. And the slave said to his owner, he said, "My time's up. I'm ready to go." And Anthony, a black slave owner, said, "No, you're not. I own you." And he actually took it to court, and the court saw it his way. See, what a lot of people don't understand that slavery, it wasn't just white guys rounding up black guys for slavery. They were all different kinds of colors. People that were slaves were released. They were free people. They had papers that said that they were freed, and then they went on and they did what they did as a free person as well. But what the left wants to do is they want to try to keep making it sound like it was just these people who founded this nation that were the ones that owned slaves and wanted to own slaves. They never bring up the part that everybody owned them and that what we did is that we ended slavery. We got rid of it. They keep pushing that. They push it all the time. And why? They want to keep this racial tension going when there's absolutely no reason for it whatsoever. They splinter off into different groups. I mean, the left has a lot of groups. In fact, I right now I really can't even think of anything that the so-called right that does as radical as the left. La Raza, the race, the Mexicans, left. Black Lives Matter, tied up with Acorn, communist group, left. Right out of the Democratic Party. KKK. These people are, you see them flying swastikas. They're National Socialists. National Socialists. That's what Nazis are. So when someone tells you that they're National Socialists, they're a Nazi. Left. KKK, I said the KKK, but the white supremacist groups, they're the ones that fly the Nazi sign, which are National Socialists, and then you have the KKK, who's started by the Democratic Party. There's no question about it. I mean, the Democrats try to say that it switched over to the Republican Party. It never switched over. It's still it's the Democrats still run the KKK, but they'll lie to you and tell you otherwise. The Democratic Party now, as it stands, is public enemy number one. They are involved in insurrection, treason, and rebellion right now. And this Hodgkinson's is the first one of their kind that has gone out here and started shooting at the Republicans. I mean, they're just picking a party randomly. I mean, there's a lot of Republicans, the rhinos, Republicans in name only, rhinos. They're all leftists. The rhinos are no different than the Democratic Party. Everybody in the Democratic Party, because, I mean, they promote democracy. You couldn't get more anti-American than that. But they don't promote democracy. What they do is they hide behind words like progressive, to hide their real agenda, which is communism. Now, McCarthy tried to expose the communists back in the 50s, I believe it was, or 40s or 50s. I can't remember. You know, I don't even think I was born yet. And even if I was too young to remember. But the whole idea was that he was concerned about, communism infiltrating within government. So he wanted to have people at least, honor their oath of office and say that they had allegiance to the United States to uphold and defend the Constitution, as opposed to upholding and defending Karl Marx's ridiculous ideas. So what we have here is we have the end results of over 60 years of programming. Just like grains of sand fall through the hourglass. You say, God, how in the world is all that sand going to fall through? It's going to take forever. Sooner or later, it all falls through. And that's where we are right now. Our country is being attacked from within. We have what they call a domestic enemy. The Democratic Party is number one domestic enemy. And all of the leftists, the rhinos that are in the Republican Party, and then any other party out there that promotes socialism. This is what Bernie Sanders supporters were all about. Socialism. Socialism is a philosophy of failure, the creed of ignorance, and the gospel of envy. Its inherent virtue is the equal sharing of misery. Now, I was told that was said by Winston Churchill, but I did some research on it, and I'm not so sure that that's true. But whether it was said by Winston Churchill or not, it's the best definition of socialism that I have ever seen. Socialism is a philosophy of failure, the creed of ignorance, and the gospel of envy. its inherent virtue is equal sharing of misery. This is where these communist bastards want to take this country, and they want to take it now. People are waking up now. They're starting to take a look at their heritage and understanding what our founding fathers actually did here. What they created here was a government where the people were the sovereign. They were the ones that gave their consent, and only a little bit. And that little bit is contained in the United States Constitution. And if we're one of those leftist assholes that says, well, we don't know what the intent of the framers were, there's the federal papers, anti-federal papers, and there are numerous documents that let you know exactly what the founders of our republic, what their intent was. There's no question what it was, and it wasn't what's happening right now. And if we're going to have these communist bastards running around now, shooting people just because of their political affiliation, that's war. Not civil war. It's a coup d'etat. This is a violent takeover by domestic enemies. And you better wake up and understand what a domestic enemy is. It is anybody who does not uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. If they have anything to say about the United States Constitution that even remotely suggests that they want to get rid of one of our freedoms, these people are traitors. They're enemies. What I'm going to do here in the near future, hopefully the next show that I can do, is that after Bernie Sanders did his little spectacle the other day, questioning somebody's religious faith, and making it sound like that his faith disqualified him from public office, I've decided I'm going to bring out some information that I was going to save for a little bit later on down the line, but I'm going to bring it in now because it is that important. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all the colonial charters, and we're going to take a look, and we're going to find out who established this nation. I hear people say all the time, well, it's a Christian nation. It was established by Christians. And then before I go any further, I'm not what you call a Christian, so I'm not taking any sides with anybody, but I have taken my time to go through and get all the information I possibly can on why the colonies were being established, what they were being established for. And I'm going to present that to you in the next show, and I think that you're going to find that to be, I think, more than shocking. Well, I'd like to make sure that everybody understands that they really have to start to pay attention to what's going on here. Democrats hate freedom. Democrats hate our Republican form of government. Democrats hate the Constitution. They hate separation of powers. They hate anything that is based upon anything that is right and decent. And like all communists, they always hide behind a veil as if, it's a big secret as what they're up to doing. They call themselves Democrats when they hate democracy. They even hate that. Communism has no democracy in it. But they won't come out and say, I am a communist. They won't say that. I'm a progressive. I progress. That's what I do. While they're trying to take a hammer and a sickle and shove it up your ass. Pay attention. You have a right to protect your life, liberty, and property. You have a right to arm yourself. And in Montana, you can carry a weapon as long as it's not concealed without a permit. You can carry it concealed, from what I understand, in your home, on your property, or outside of the city limits. Otherwise, you need to get a permit to carry concealed. But when you have people like this Hodgkinson, who's such a whacked out leftist wacko from hell, communist bastard, they're out there. And these people aren't going to just kill you because they disagree with you, whether you agree with the Constitution or not. They're going to kill you just because of your political affiliation. So if you're a Republican, I would be really concerned about that. I'm not a Republican or Democrat. I'm a political atheist. But with this kind of thing going on, I'm seriously considering carrying my sidearm open because there are a lot of Democrats around. And as you've seen how, for all these different protests and stuff, you've seen how they act. You see what they do. They try to shut everybody and everything down. They think that they can stop your right to freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of association. They think that they can come and do violent acts on you, beat you up, blow whistles and in your ears and blow your eardrums out. That doesn't matter. They don't care. Because they're very low IQ people. They really don't even understand what they're doing. If they only looked back in history a week ago, like Venezuela, they'd see how well socialism works. But they want to bring in a foreign and alien ideology, a failure's philosophy. Socialism never worked, ever. Can't work. And now they're starting to kill people. It isn't those who support the Constitution that are out here pushing people around. It isn't people who support the Constitution that are pointing guns at people or picking out political parties and shooting them. They're not doing that because a free individual understands that a person has a right to live their lives any way they want, providing that they're not violating life, liberty, or property of another individual. It's very simple. You have to learn how to be tolerant. You're going to have different religions in your community. You're going to have Jewish people. You're going to have Christians. You're going to have Unitarians. You're going to have Scientologists. It goes on and on. All of them are there, and they all have a right to live their life and practice a religion the way they want to. In a free society, there's only three indicia, just three. That's all you got to remember is three. As long as you're not violating somebody's life, liberty, or property, then in a free society, you must maintain tolerance. Tolerance has to exist in a society with free-thinking people, different religions and different ideas, different lifestyles. You have to remain tolerant. And nobody, not one lifestyle, one religion, none of them have a right to forcefully push their ideas upon another person, make them do that. And that's what's happening with this Antifa, the anti-fascist group. They don't even know what fascism is, but they're out there going to stop it. What you're going to find out about the communist left, and it comes from Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals, is that first thing that they do is they always blame their opposition. They always blame them for what they're doing. They're beating you over the head with a stick, but then they'll say, look at this guy beating me over the head with a stick. I'm telling you right now, you need to pay attention. This is getting serious. I've told you all along that you'll know when it's getting serious. John Hodgkinson is an example of how serious it can get. Those people on the field, if they would have had their exercising their Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms, and I mean outside of the militia, I guess this was called for the militia too, because this man he's an enemy. It's an enemy that's infiltrated this free nation and is now taking people's lives. That's war. That's what a domestic enemy is. The next time you're talking with somebody and they're talking about, oh, I'm a socialist, I'm a communist, and I'm this stuff, that person is openly and notoriously telling you that they are a traitor to the United States of America, and their sole purpose is to overthrow it and bring in a foreign and alien ideology like communism. which is socialism by force. To hell with you. I'm a free man, and I'm going to take my stand. And you and your big brother are through. This is the Ghetto Man. Thank you for watching.
She's on the dark side. She's on the dark side. She's on the dark side of the moon. She will seduce you with all her pleasures. Man or woman, she tempts them all. She is so lovely. Your head. Come on in and sleep in my bed. Fame, power, and wealth, sex, religion, and greed. Spend some time and she'll plant her evil seed. Give you all that your heart can desire. She'll place the whole